All right, just time for a quick listicle while I'm here. Here are, in no particular order, 5 great actors and the parts they never got to play but really should have done. Number 1, the best Lex Luthor we never had, James Spader. Seriously, how good would James Spader be as Lex Luthor? And let's be honest, in The Blacklist, he's kind of already playing Lex Luthor. James Spader's had the most wonderful career trajectory, turning up at the end of the 1980s as, the epitome of boyish good looks, but with something patently not quite right about him. And then over the decades, the not quite rightness has sort of metastasized at the same rate that the boyish good looks have faded, to the point now where he's just kind of this smug, evil toad. He's wonderful. I'm interested to see what Nicholas Hoult does with Lex Luthor, but I'll always wish we got a look at James Spader. All right, number 2, staying in the DC universe. Best Joker we never had, Willem Dafoe. Now, I know he got to play the Green Goblin in the Spider-Man movies and indeed ultimately in the Marvel universe, but look at that face. Can't you just see that face painted white with the green hair? You wouldn't need any other makeup. Just Willem Dafoe's face is already the Joker. In fact, if you go online and Google Willem Dafoe, the Joker, plenty of people have mocked that up for you already. Number 3, best James Bond we never had was Ian Glenn. I know a lot of you might have been waiting for me to say Henry Cavill. I actually think Henry Cavill might still be in with a shot. Certainly don't think there'll be any problem with him taking over as James Bond now that he's not Superman anymore. I did find myself wondering when this was first mooted a few years ago, how many franchises can one man be expected to hold together just because he's got a really good chin? But for my money, the best James Bond we never got was Ian Glenn, because he has the face that I always imagined James Bond having. Tell you where to check this out. The original Tomb Raider movie, in which, of course, by bizarre coincidence, future James Bond, Daniel Craig, is playing Lara Croft's sidekick. But the bad guy is Ian Glenn, and he's got slick back black hair, and I defy anybody to watch that movie, look at Ian Glenn as the bad guy, and not to think to themselves, now that would have been a really interesting James Bond. Number 4, the best Doctor, as in Doctor Who, we never got, Patterson Joseph. Now, here's the weird thing about this one. For a minute there, it looked like we were getting Patterson Joseph. You may remember this, or you may even have forgotten it, that sometime between David Tennant announcing that he was leaving and it being announced that Matt Smith was taking over, we had the short-lived revival of Survivors, the what became in due course a rather unpleasantly prescient story about 95% of the world's population being wiped out by the flu. It was a remake of a 1970s show, originally written by Terry Nation, the Dalek guy. But anyway, Patterson Joseph was one of the lead characters in this. And there was one of the other lead actors, I forget who, was being interviewed about it on, I think, BBC Breakfast. And he sort of appeared to accidentally let slip that Patterson had been chosen as the new Doctor. He sort of unaccountably got Patterson Joseph, who's the next Doctor. No, not supposed to say anything about that. And actually, at the time, this made a hell of a lot of sense. For the very reason that is probably also the very same reason that he never got to be the Doctor, which is that he'd kind of already played the Doctor in Neverwhere. And he was the Marquis de Carabas, who was a very doctorish character. And number 5, the best Superman we never got, Keanu Reeves. I'm not kidding. You look at Keanu in the 90s, sort of sometime between like Speed and The Matrix. And I know at the end of The Matrix, he kind of turns into Superman anyway, but to me, that would have been the perfect iteration of the thing which so many versions of Superman miss, which is his innocence and his optimism. Keanu's really good at being kind of naively optimistic, and that, I think, is Superman's most cherishable quality. That was what Christopher Reeve had in spades. They keep getting Superman wrong. Superman is not sort of angsty and conflicted. Superman is completely, entirely, uncomplicatedly good. And evil baffles and disappoints him. And that, to me, is what Keanu would have brought to it. You've never thought of that before, have you? But now I've said it, you start to see it in your mind, aren't you? All right, those are 5 great actors and the parts they never got to play but really should have done. You've probably thought of one or two already. Into the comments they go. I'll see you soon.